gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us today. You know, what happens when a woman ignores warning signs that she shouldn't get married? Well, today our guests say they should have walked out the door instead of walking down the aisle before their wedding, but they went ahead and walked down the aisle. Now, my first guest knew she shouldn't get married and tried to call the wedding off. Take a look at this.
When I first met Todd, he was a caring person, a nice guy. When I got pregnant with Amber, Todd started changing towards me. He was more verbal abuse at first. The first time Todd ever put his hands on me, any physical abuse towards me, I was pregnant with Amber, and it just, startled me that he would do that. I never thought that he would. Although me and Todd had 3 children, Todd wanted to get married, but I didn't want to. The reason I didn't want to marry Todd is because I'd already, it was physical abuse already. Todd had threatened me that if I didn't get married, that he would step out of the kids' lives and wouldn't be a part of their lives anymore, and it would be my fault. I didn't want my kids to blame me for their father not being in their lives. 30 minutes before the wedding, I didn't want to marry Todd because I knew that the abuse and stuff wouldn't stop even if we got married. I knew as I was saying I do that I really shouldn't be marrying Todd. Even though Todd beat me every day, I still stayed because I didn't want to break up my family. And when he did that, I thought that the next thing he will be doing is probably hitting the girls. And I asked for a divorce. A couple of weeks after I told Todd that I was going to divorce him, some cops had showed up at my job, and so they had a small fire in my home. And then it came on the radio to take me to the hospital. And so when I got there at the hospital, I walked in, a doctor or something had kind of got me and told me to go in this room. He said, well, he'd be right back. And he came back like maybe 5 minutes later and told me that that Amber didn't make it. I went to the hallway screaming. 2 weeks after the fire, the cops had come to me and told me that Todd had set the fire intentionally. Todd took my girls from me, and that was my life. If I would have left, I may have had to raise them on my own, but I'd rather be a single mom raising my kids than not have my kids at all.
Please welcome Stacy to the show. Take us back, Stacy, for a second. Let's go way back. How did you meet him?
I met Todd when I was 18 years old. I was a senior in high school. He was a nice guy, a Prince Charming.
Okay.
All guys are.
You get pregnant the first time with your first child?
Yeah. Right. After I had graduated high school. And when I got pregnant, he was upset about that. And that's when a lot of the verbal abuse started. And then it wasn't too long, then the physical abuse started.
And let's go back to the first sign of physical abuse. What was the first thing he did?
Pushed me. I was leaning over a bathtub, and he was mad about something. He was doing cussing and all, and I had my back turned. And
you were pregnant at the time?
Yeah, I was pregnant with Amber at the time. And I think I was 5 months, and I had my back to him. Next thing I know, he pushed me, and I fell catty-cornered into the bathtub, and I was shocked. Never had he put his hands on me. It was mainly verbal abuse, but never, physical.
But when did it start to escalate?
It really got bad when I got pregnant with the twins.
Okay, so Amber's how old at this point?
Amber is only 8 months old. And he wasn't really in Amber's life a lot at the beginning. He only seen Amber when she was 2 months old. That's the first time he had seen her. The next thing I know, he's packing his stuff and he's leaving.
And what did he say to that?
He didn't want a daughter and a wife. That's not the life he wanted.
And then he turns around and that wife says, I'm pregnant with twins. And then what happened?
He lost it.
In what way?
He just said that was definitely nothing he wanted. We started arguing. Next thing I know, he's really beating me up. I
And
mean,
how many months pregnant were you at this point in time?
I was three
3 months
months pregnant with a twin.
I mean, you say he's really beating you up as if he just smacked you, but he almost put you in the hospital.
Yeah, I tried to call 911. He took the phone away from me and beat me with the phone.
To the point that you borderline came close to having a miscarriage.
Yeah.
That was it. You said enough is enough.
Yeah.
When did he contact you again?
About 2 weeks later.
And what did he say?
I made a mistake. I do want y'all. And I had told him then I was moving to another town with my family. I was moving down back to my family. And so I moved down to where my family lived. And maybe a week, 2, he was back down there.
With you?
Uh-huh.
You let him back in?
Yeah.
We'll take a little break. We'll be back right after this.
And they said they were in the funeral home. So then I knew the twins hadn't made it either.
And at this point in time, you still have no idea how the fire started?
No.
Shortly before. A woman who's in that situation
Yeah.
who believes that it will stop, it didn't stop.
No, never.
So
stopped.
finally you said, enough, I want a divorce.
Well, my breaking point was when the twins were already born. They were just a year old. And one time I had come in, and he was upset about something.
You were holding Amber.
I had Amber in my arms like this.
How old is she now? 3? 3 and a half?
No, she was only 2 and a half.
2 and a half, okay.
And he hit me. And when he hit me, it threw me back. And I held Amber even closer, tighter, because I didn't want her to fall either. And when I got up, I told him, I said, Todd, I take my beatings from you. I've always taken them. But when you hit me with my daughter in my arms, that's different. I said, to me, it's my girls next. And there was no way I would let my girls feel what I felt, the pain of being beat. And that was it. I told him, I said, I am going to divorce you. I didn't ask for a divorce. I told him that I would divorce him.
So it was the next day? You were at work?
It was a couple days, several days later.
You were at work, and the police came by your work.
Yeah.
Stopped in and said, let's see, Stacy,
Yeah.
excuse me, there's been a little problem at
A
your
small
house.
fire at your house.
A small fire at your house. Were you surprised they didn't take you to the house?
Well, actually, they were taking me to the house.
Mm-hmm.
And I was kind of trying to ask questions. Well, what happened? What's going on? This. And they said, I don't know. It's just a small fire. And so I said, all right. So they were taking me to the house, but it come over the police scanner that if anyone had me, to take me to the hospital. When I heard that, I thought, who's hurt? I said, did one of the kids get hurt? Is one of the girls hurt? He says, I have no idea. I don't know what's going on. I'm just taking you to the hospital.
And at this point in time, they even told you that your twins passed.
No, I didn't know what was going on. All I knew was a small fire at my home. And they come back in there, and they said, well, Amber didn't make it. And I was sitting there, I was like, what do you mean Amber didn't make it? What are you talking about? I was only 21 years old. I was a kid myself.
And you didn't think, you meant that she didn't make it to the hospital. You had no idea what they meant by she didn't make it.
Yeah.
But then when did they tell you that your twins had passed?
Well, I had got out of the room to go and see Amber, and I was in there holding her, and I started asking them where were my twins. And they said a name, and I thought it was a hospital, and it was a funeral home, and I had no idea. And so I was telling them that I thought it was a hospital in Dallas. So I was telling them, how am I going to leave Amber and go to the hospital in Dallas? And then I heard someone talking, and they said, she thinks they're in the hospital. And I turned to ask them, well, where are they? And they said they were in the funeral home. So then I knew the twins hadn't made it either.
And at this point in time, you still have no idea how the fire started, what was going on? And now here comes Todd, correct?
No, I was in there with Amber, and they were saying that Todd wanted to talk to me. So I left Amber, went there, and I opened the door, and I don't know, something in me just didn't feel right. And I looked at him, and I didn't even let him speak. I just looked at him and asked him, how can you be laying here in this hospital alive, and they're telling me all 3 of my girls are dead? Why are you living? How did you live through this?
Mm-hmm.
And he just looked at me and started saying, what are you trying to say? What are you talking about? So I said, what are you trying to accuse me of and stuff?
And now we know for a fact he was arrested and convicted of the murder of your 3 daughters because he started that fire himself in the home. And it's one of those crazy things, but I'm sorry. Here's a man who just maliciously murdered his children to be vindictive against a woman, his wife. A jury of his peers found him guilty and sentenced him to death. But hold on a second. You supported that decision. And you had to have been torn. I mean, here's the father of your children, but you're also asking the state, or agreeing with the state, to put him to death.
Yeah.
And you had said, you made a comment, I guess a lot of people, he even begged you to ask if you could write a letter.
He asked me if I could give him life. He said, no one wants to die. Well, no, my 3 girls didn't want to die either. And he said he knew he didn't have a right to ask me for life, but if I could write a letter to the clemency board, it would seem better coming from me, since I was the mother of the girls, and I would rather him spend the rest of his life in prison than to die. Well, I would rather spend the rest of my life with my girls, too.
Right. But did you say, but if you can give him life, give him life?
No, I didn't. No.
So he never got from you what he asked for?
He never got that,
so,
no.
Just before we go out, you were present when he was executed. Mm-hmm. And why don't you tell them, this is the man who fathered children with you, abused you, then murdered your own kids. What did he say when they were strapping his butt to that table?
He hoped I rot in hell.
He hoped that you would rot in hell.
Yeah.
I don't know how you continue on, honestly. We'll take a break. We'll be back right after this.